What's up, good friends? I'm actually here in my classroom today. It's my planning period. I don't have any work to do, so I decided to make a video to keep myself awake. So, this video, I'm going to talk about all the World War II books I read in 2021 because I know that's a popular genre or time period. Now, I'm not going to list these in the orders that I enjoyed them. I'm going to list them in the order in which I read them. So, the first World War II book I read in 2021 was Night. Now, this is a short memoir by Elie Wiesel, he died in 2018, was a Holocaust survivor. And it's really only 130 pages. It tells his story. As heartbreaking as it was, it didn't really tell me anything about the Holocaust that I didn't know. So I gave it 3 stars. And then the second World War II book I read, I also gave 3 stars. And that book is The Yellow Bird Sings. This is a debut novel. It's very short again. And it's about a mother and daughter who are hiding in a barn and they get separated during the Holocaust. And there's a big element of music in this book, and it was really written more like a screenplay. And I think this book is a great example of a story that would work better on film. It just didn't fit well for the medium, which is novel. It's just a story that would be better on film because you could listen to the music with the film, you could see the characters singing and playing their instrument, and when you combine those images with the sound of music, it's just a much more thrilling experience. It's a much more visceral experience than just reading about it. All right, moving on. So, the next World War II book I read is that's right, it's the Nightingale. I've talked about this one so many times. I've ranted and ranted. I'm not gonna rant anymore. Didn't like it. It was a slog. Hated the characters. Hated the Nightingale. Gave it 2 stars. And so the next World War II book I've read after that is Between Shades of Grey by Ruta Sepetys. Now, this is my second favorite World War II book I read, and it was amazing because it was really YA, and I read it with my ninth graders. I hadn't read it yet, and it actually told me, a teacher, things about World War II that I didn't know. It's about a little girl and her mom and brother who are Lithuanians, and they are taken by the Soviets to a prison camp in Siberia. And it's about the hardships that they face, and it's just a brilliant coming of age stories. I thought I would cry reading this, but I actually didn't. Um, it's because I only read half of it and then I listened to the other half in the car because I was running out of time. But I feel like this one would have made me cry. The family relationships and the strain that was put on this family was incredible. And it'll touch your heart if you read it. Now, the next one I read did make me cry. It's another Ruta Sepetys book, and it is Salt to the Sea. I cried at the end. This is about 4 teenagers. I believe it's four. Um, it has a connection to Between Shades of Grey. Um, and it's about 4 teenagers who are refugees getting on this boat called the Wilhelm something. I'll put it right here. But I can't pronounce it. And it's the biggest maritime disaster in World War II, and I'd never heard of it. And most people are that way. They've never heard of it. My mom said she had, but my mom's a total nerd. but the ship was meant to carry, I believe, 5,000 people. It had 12 lifeboats, and in the end, they crammed 30,000 onto there. So essentially, a small city onto that boat. And it's about the four teenagers, how they build their relationships, getting to the boat, what they do when the boat sinks, and how they turn out in the end. And it's really a study in the will to survive and dealing with trauma and guilt, but it's trauma that's happened before and still occurring. So it's kind of like, it was right at the end of World War II, and it's one of those situations where they can see the finish line at the end. They're so close, but they have to make it through this last hardship, this last trauma before they make it. And I cried. I cried big time. I ugly cried, tears steaming down my cheeks, saline speckling my glasses. It was quite a cry. All right. And then the last World War II book I read was, book two in the Century Trilogy, Winter of the World by Ken Follett. I actually liked this one better than Fall of Giants because it was just so much weirder. Ken Follett has a strange obsession with body hair, specifically pubic hair, and his sex scenes are the most random, cringy sex scenes I've ever read. And it was very soapy. The relationship between the characters was, I mean, the fact that they all ran into each other was just like total coincidence. They weren't really characters, more so they were plot conveniences, and it was just silly, but I really did like it. So, those are all the World War II books I read in 2021. I definitely recommend them because I don't really recommend the Nightingale, but World War II is really good for people trying to get into historical fiction because it was recent enough that we still know about it. And I know historical fiction can be a little daunting to a lot of people, but if you're looking to get into historical fiction, Between Shades of Grey and Salt to the Sea are probably your best gateway, and then work your way up to more complex books. So keep reading, keep writing, keep loving words, and I will see you next time. Bye.